Hi, thank you for joining me. We will be starting in the next 1.5 minutes. We will be starting shortly. Hi, and thank you for joining me on this Tuesday afternoon. My name is Wayne from Ascend Custom Designs. I am a small business owner and part of the xTool Squad program. So the xTool Squad is a global network of experienced makers, educators, and small business owners, such as myself. We offer one-on-one demos of the xTool products that we own, and the demos are a mix of online and in person. Differs by the host that you select. Some hosts will also offer material testing and skill training. So material testing involves testing customer supplied samples under a number of different parameters to get you ideal results. Whereas skill training is essentially a one-on-one masterclass with an xTool Squad member. You ask us what you want to get out of the skill training, and we will set up a program to give you the skills that you need to perfect your projects, to be able to manage your business. So that's what we offer in the xTool Squad program. Right now, xTool's offering a promotion or running a promotion whereby product demos are absolutely free. So the host will get paid regardless if you buy or not. I should note that if you do buy a machine, the host that you went with will get a small commission from xTool, but we're under no pressure to sell a machine. So we get to show you how we use our machines, get to answer any questions. If possible, I would highly recommend you see the machines in person. There's a wide range of hosts. I'll show you how to find a host. If you go to the website below, I'll also drop a link in the comments whereby you can click on that and search for a host. I'll quickly show you that on the website now. So if I go over to Safari, so what you want to do is go over to local support. From there, you've got this free product demo. And as you can see here, absolutely free. So the Omni printer, the M2, Metal Fab, a Power Printer P3, F2 Ultra UV, F2 Ultra, the P2S, the F1 Ultra, the F1, F2, S1, M1 Ultra. Basically every single machine that xTool sell, you can get a product demo absolutely free. Now, there is a cost if you're just looking for a sample of the Power Printer, so a sample of the DTF film, and there's a small cost for that, and that's £12.99 Great British pounds. Now, if you're looking for a host, it's as simple as selecting whether you want in-person or online. So you could say, I want an in-person demo. I'm looking for someone in Cardiff. I am then looking for maybe the P3. We find that. There we go, P3. And now you're given a list of hosts that meet that criteria. So here, Miles. So if you click on Miles, 21 reviews, 5.0 rating, you can also see what other machines the host has. And it's a simple case of clicking that and following prompts. It's a simple case of entering your details and you're good to go. Now, if you're looking for other services such as the skill training or material testing, that is a paid for solution and the cost of that differs by the host. So do check out the different prices for that. Each host will set the price for their skill train. Not everyone offers it. So do check that out, but it's a simple case of selecting someone that you want and booking a demo. And obviously you still have that ability to do it online. Again, this is either done through Google Meet. I use Microsoft Teams. I've also used WhatsApp at a pinch. So you have a wide variety of options. So that's also a good option if you're not able to find a host locally or if you're not able to get there. So that's how you would book a one-on-one free demo. Now, I do get asked, what is the point in offering material tests if it's so easy? I've shown people how to do material tests themselves. If it's so easy, why do we offer it as a service? And the simple answer is a lot of businesses want to make sure before they buy that the machine will engrave or cut certain materials. So for example, I've just had a customer reach out in terms of acrylic. Now, a diode laser can engrave certain colors of acrylic. But if you're looking at clear acrylic, or if you're looking to cut clear acrylic, you need a very specific type of laser, in this case, a CO2 laser. So it all comes down to that. And sometimes it's a bit more complicated. It might be a very specific mix of metal, and they don't want to buy a machine before they know it's going to work. So it's much easier to do a materials test with someone that has the machine, and then I can send it back, or maybe they come and I do it with them in person in the office so they can see how easy it is and they can see the results in real time. So that's why we offer material testing. Now, this is an idea of the workshop. So I'm going to go over new product releases and xTool Studio features. So I've got the xTool M2, the F2 and the F2 Ultra UV here in the office. So I'll go over the tech specs. I'll have a physical look around. We'll cover some brief laser safety. And then I'll show you the new xTool Studio version 1.8.14. So that is the release that has support for the O1. I'll then show you some of the features of the software, the project notes, the auto mode in the F series, batch processing and importing. So I've been asked about that, about doing batch processing. So I'll show you how easy that is. Some of the other features, trimming, and a lot more. And we'll cover some of the new product announcements. So when I show you the F2, I'll show you the new addition that I've got to the F2, and it's a fantastic idea. So if we crack on, we'll start with the M2. So the M2 comes in two variations of diode laser. So it comes with a 10 watt or 20 watt diode laser option. And it also has that 3 watt infrared diode laser as another option. So if you're looking to mark metal, this is kind of where you want to go. If you're looking to engrave or cut, 10 watt, depending on the thickness of the material, will be more than enough. If you're looking specifically to engrave, I always tell people to go with the 10 watt as it has a smaller laser spot size. And that will come in handy when trying to pick up all the details of a photo, for example. Whereas the 20 watt has a slightly larger dot size and some of the fine detail can be missed. So we'll cover that when I'll show you the laser dot size of the different lasers, and you can kind of get a better idea. Now, in terms of printing, this has a full ink module or inkjet module that you can add to the machine so it can actually print. And when I say it can print, I mean it can print in full color. So it doesn't have white, and that comes in handy if you're printing on dark substrates or materials, so the color doesn't get lost. So when you look at high-end UV printers like the O1, you'll notice that it comes with white ink, and that allows you to print the white ink first and then print the color on top, and you get a crisp result. So you will get mixed results with this printing depending on what color material you use. This is a fully enclosed class 1 laser, and that is basically jargon for saying it's super safe. You can't operate it with the lid open. There's no light exposure to your eyes. So in a nutshell, you can operate this in a household and you don't have to worry about little eyes being damaged, pet's eyes being damaged, your eyes being damaged. If the machine gets accidentally opened, it will stop. So it's fully enclosed and it's the safest class of laser to be around. This machine comes jam-packed, especially at the price point, with a load of technology. So in terms of that class 1 laser safety, it has interlock switches on the lid and on the base. So if it detects either not closed or attached, it won't work. It also has this dual camera system, and it has a 5 megapixel camera that's located on the lid. And then it has that close-up 2 megapixel camera that is located to the right of the module assembly. And that comes in handy when you're looking for very fine details. It's a night and day different camera. So anyone that's a photographer will know that it's not just the megapixels that make camera great, it's also the type of lens. So that 2 megapixel camera has a different lens, and you'll see, and I'll show you a close-up of the 2 megapixel camera versus the 5 megapixel that gives you a whole view of the bed, and you can see the difference night and day. In terms of novel features, it can auto detect the material, and this does come in handy in terms of coming up with settings or potential settings for the material that you're operating on. But realistically, you should know your material. But this is a very good feature for someone that is new to lasers, or maybe this is your first laser. So it's very, very good. In terms of speed, it has a max speed of 6,000 millimeters a second. This is a gantry-based laser, so it moves on the X, Y, and Z axis. This also does come pre-assembled. Have to do a brief calibration. It's very simple. And that is just to get the optimum result off the bat. As this gets moved around in transit, things can become unaligned. So that calibration just fixes all that and makes sure you get results, perfect results at that from day one. In terms of the work area, it has a max space of 42.6 centimeters by 32 centimeters. And there's an asterisk next to that because it does depend on what module you have. So if you use the 10 and 20 watt modules, you will get that full usable space. Whereas if you use the 3 watt infrared module, you'll get a reduced space due to the thickness and depth of the module. And then finally, if you do use that inkjet module, you'll get a further reduced space because that is a much larger module and it does require some clearance as it's taken off the cap. And I'll play you a short video and hopefully that will explain some of the aspects of that. Now, if we jump over to the F2, so the F2 is small but mighty. This is one of my favorite lasers. This is my favorite laser to take out and about because it's so portable. It's 4.6 kilograms, give or take. And I say give or take because I now have a new addition to this F2, and the new addition is the air purifier that they're selling. And I'm not talking about the white box. xTool now have, and if I show you, and it's called the Air Purifier Go. Now, I got this as soon as it was released. As soon as I saw it, I knew this was definitely a go for me, pun intended. So this fits nicely and neatly to the back of the F2, so it becomes pretty much one unit. It's very, very easy to attach, and it just makes sense. There's no hose pipe. It requires one power cable, so you don't have to run 2 power cables and have to attach the USB to the back of it. It does attach to the back, but it's all powered through one cable now. So it's neatened the whole design up, and I can carry it still with that handle. And it does increase the weight just a little bit, but the footprint is significantly reduced due to this. And I will say I've used this, and I don't smell any fumes. So I have this on the desk right now. If I switch over to the pan tilt zoom camera, you can see it here. This is, if I go around the back here, this is the pipe that is usually attached to the white small air purifier. Now, this all fits in nice and neatly. So it's all one unit, and it just works. And it has a very small filter. And when I say small filter, I've just taken the back off. This is the filter. So it's a very sturdy feeling, got some weight to it, and it just slides in the back. And that's it. Change the filter. In terms of how long the filter lasts, they say heavy use, 2 weeks. I can't speak from personal experience at the moment. I've not taken this to a craft show or anything like that yet. But in my testing so far, this just works. Absolutely fantastic. It required a little firmware update. So when I attached it, it knew that it was attached. I updated the firmware of the machine through xTool Studio, and it just works. And I'll show you that in the interface a little later. So that is the xTool F2 with the Air Purifier Go. And again, that is this on the screen. So it's £149. And it's an absolutely amazing idea. Very sleek, and it just saves space. It just makes it, it just elevates the look of it for me. So thought I'd mention that when I mention the weight, because now I have that attached, and it does increase the weight just a little bit, but it's still very, very portable. So this machine is a dual laser. So it has a 5-watt infrared laser and a 15-watt diode laser. Because of that, you can engrave on well over 300 plus materials. It's a galvo laser, so it's capable of speeds of up to 6,000 millimeters a second. So when I say a galvo laser, this does not move on an X, Y, and Z axis. This has a couple of mirrors in the laser source, and what happens is the laser will shoot its laser down, and the mirror will, or the mirrors will bounce it around the bed. And because of this, it's capable of getting those 6,000 millimeter a second speeds compared to the galvo at 600. So it's 10 times faster, and that's simply because of the type of laser that it is. One of the drawbacks of a galvo laser is the smaller bed size, but what it excels in is speed. Now, this camera has a 50 megapixel camera in it, and it has an alignment accuracy of up to 0.1 millimeters when fully focused. So it's a very accurate camera. So you can place an object or material in the bed and trust that it's going to engrave where it's going to engrave. If in doubt, because it's a galvo laser, you can do a real-time framing, and I'll show you that in progress. And again, this machine comes pre-assembled. It's ready to use at the bat after a brief calibration test. If you're looking for more information on the xTool F2, you can scan the QR code on screen. Alternatively, what I'll do is I will drop in a link for the F2 in the comments, and you can check that out yourself. Now, if we jump over to the M or the F2 Ultra UV, and I guess before I jump over, I should say the work size of this machine is 11.5 by 11.5 centimeters, and you can increase it with the slide extension up to a maximum of 40 centimeters in width. So you're not just limited to that bed size, you can expand it with the slide extension. If I jump over to the F2 Ultra, so here we have the F2 Ultra UV, so not to be confused with the F2 Ultra. So the F2 Ultra UV is a 5-watt UV laser. It's sometimes known as a cold processing laser, and that's simply because the type of laser that it is produces minimal heat compared to a CO2, infrared, fiber, diode laser. So this uses its high photon energy to break down the molecular bonds of material, and that's how it engraves or cuts pretty much. So you're able to cut through wood without getting any charring because it doesn't use pure heat. And again, it's not to say it doesn't produce heat. It does. It just produces minimal heat compared to the other wavelengths of light. Because of that, it's sometimes known as a cold processing laser. This is the type of laser that is used on delicate circuitry. So if you've ever opened up any TVs or phones and seen any numbers printed on the circuit board, it's engraved. So it wouldn't be printed, it would be engraved, and it would be typically engraved with a UV laser because it's very delicate and doesn't damage the circuitry. So the heat that it produces is very minimal, and it's able to get a nice engrave in doing so. And I'll show you a graph that I cut out in a little bit, just to show you what the UV laser is capable of doing. In terms of speed, it's capable of a maximum of 15,000 millimeters a second, has a 48 megapixel camera, and this allows an alignment accuracy up to 0.2 millimeters when properly focused. This laser specifically is the master of glass, and it is capable of engraving on the inside of K9 glass. So K9 glass is a very specific type of glass in terms of optical purity and material purity, and it's able to engrave on the inside of the glass. So if you've ever seen a globe or maybe a glass block and it has a 3D image in it, they would have used a UV laser to do that. Now this machine comes again pre-assembled and very, very well packaged. It's much heavier than the F2. It's about 22.5 kilograms. I've taken this to the NEC several times. So it is portable, but it's not as portable as the F2, for example. In terms of the work area, it has a workspace of about 20 by 20 centimeters. And again, you can expand that work area up to a maximum of 50 centimeters with the conveyor belt. And that operates very much like a conveyor belt you'd find at Asda, Walmart, Morrison's, Tesco's, your usual stores. So it wraps around on itself, very much a conveyor belt. If you want to find out more information about the xTool F2 Ultra, I'll drop that in the comments now. And again, I've dropped my contact information in the comments and on screen. If you have any questions, please do feel free to reach out. If I don't know the answers, I will put you in the direction of someone who does. Now, I mentioned that the UV laser is capable of cutting. So it's not typically a laser you would use to chop wood. But the reason I mention it is, as you can see here, there's no char marks. And just to show you what a char mark or a burn mark looks like, this here, I chopped the top after I cut it out with the diode laser, just so you can see what you would typically find when you cut wood. So you can see just how clean that is. And I do have a piece of wood. So this was chopped out using a diode laser. I then chopped it out again. And you can see diode versus UV, absolutely no charring. So again, it's not necessarily the right tool for chopping wood, but there is use cases for this. So for example, if you're chopping through or cutting paper with a diode laser, you will get burn marks. You'll get that char, that residue. And obviously, if you're chopping light colored paper, you could potentially stain the paper accidentally by touching it, and then your fingerprint goes on it and it's stained. Now, if you use a UV laser, you don't have that. You can chop that out, and by that, I chopped this out with the UV laser. Oh, there we go. You can see the precision. There's absolutely no charring, and it's fantastic. It's got its fantastic use cases, and you'll find as we go through this, each laser does have a speciality typically. So like a CO2 laser, for example, is the master of acrylic. So if you're looking to cut all colors of acrylic, you need a CO2 laser. So you'll find that the different lasers have different strengths. So now if we do a physical look, what I'll do is I'll play a video of the M2 that will give me a break for a brief moment and give me a chance to catch up on any messages that I've gotten. So I'll play that video now. And again, if you have any questions, please do ask them. This is a physical look of the xTool M2. On the front, you have an LED indicator along with a button. When you send a job, this indicator will change and you simply press this button to start it. In terms of turning it on and off, there is a power button on the back, and this is the actual hose pipe that comes with the machine. So it's approximately 1.2 meters. I have this venting outside. You can either vent it to the air purifier or the AP2. If you do buy the air purifier, you will need the adapter. So when you select the air purifier, do select the version for the M2. It's the same machine. It just comes with an adapter, and the adapter looks something similar to this, and it simply allows you to connect the 8 centimeter hose to the 7 centimeter back of the air purifier. In terms of the camera that we talked about, on the lid, if you follow this white line up, this is the 5 megapixel camera. If I close this lid as I'm talking, you might hear it beep. If I do it again, what it's doing is it's taking a picture of the bed every time you close the lid. If anyone knows about cameras in machines, this is very handy. You have to press the button manually usually to update the picture. This is a nice automatic way of taking an update of the bed. The 2 megapixel camera is located next to where the modules lie. So this here is where the 2 megapixel close-up camera comes into play. So if I leave this lid open, right now I have the print module installed. If I show you just how easy that is to change, you simply hold it and pull on this USB-C cable that is in the side, and it just pulls off. On the back, you have these 2 metal prongs. They fit nicely in here, and the magnets pull it directly into place. So if I switch between that and the 10-watt laser diode module, and again, you have this USB-C connectivity on the back, simply one hand snaps in, and I can just hold it and snap it in. It's literally that simple. So switching between the modules is very effortless. It does come with 4 of these magnets. So instead of the honeycomb bed, you just have this bed here. That's to reduce the footprint of the machine as well as the cost. So you can use these little devices here, this little magnet, to switch and turn and hold material. You can raise material off the bed. Actually quite genius. I will show you these close up on the desk camera. What I'll do now is I will switch over to the iPhone and I'll show you a close-up view of the actual bed as well as the camera that's located in it. This is a close-up using the iPhone. So again, this is what I talked about, the magnets that come with it. So again, I'll show you this under the desk camera so you can have a better look. But it's very good for gripping material. You can twist and turn it, snap it into place. One of the things I will note is in the corner here, when you fit this, this is specifically for the print module. And that is because the print module has a cover on the side or the bottom. I don't know how well you can see that, but the laser will lock into that and pull it up. So it pulls it off. This cover here on the bottom stops the ink from drying up. This is a close-up of the connectivity, and I'll just do this with one hand. So again, to switch modules, you simply take out the USB-C cable. And again, I'm doing this with one hand, and you just pull it off. In terms of what the back looks like, you got them 2 metal prongs, and the 2 metal prongs fit nicely into the back there. And I don't know if you can hear it, it just literally snaps into place. And again, I'm doing this one-handed. You just put this USB-C cable into here, and there you go. It's much easier with 2 hands. So that's on now. And if I just show you underneath, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. I can't focus it, unfortunately, but that's where the 2 megapixel close-up camera is. So if I just hover over it, you can see just here, there's the camera sign, and on the actual lid is that 5 megapixel camera. If you should hopefully hear a beep. There we go, and it's done. So it's took a picture. This is the magnets that come with the xTool M2. So you get 4 of these. This is the underside. That is what it looks like from the side. And that is what it looks like when you pull it out. So these simply pull out, and you can twist and snap them. And again, if I show you from this angle, they pull out and twist and snap, and they just pull down. So these are very good for gripping material. I've gripped wood and I'm able to raise it off the bed. So when you're cutting, you want it raised up slightly so air can get underneath it, so you get a smoother finish, a smoother cut with minimal charring. This is actually a novel way of being able to do that without using a honeycomb. If anyone has any questions about that, please do let me know. So hopefully that made some sense to you. So what I'm going to do now is just show you some of the stuff that I've printed with the M2's inkjet module, and just explain something behind that. So I did a M2 workshop specifically just for the M2, a Q&A, and basically when you print on certain substrates or materials, generally speaking wood, it's very porous and it can absorb the ink too fast. Now this is what I've printed with the M2. So you can see there, it looks very crisp, very high detail, and it's actually quite amazing. And it aligned perfectly to where I wanted it with the camera. Now if you have a look at that, the colors are subdued. So again, this was without treatment, this was with treatment, and the treatment is simply some PVA glue, some school PVA glue mixed with some water, and you want it a very runny consistency. And I just pre-treated it with that first, let it dry, and when I printed on it, it's night and day difference. So again, you'll see a difference maybe here. So half of this is pre-treated, half of it is not. It might not necessarily be the best. But if I was to show you this, as you can see, treated, untreated. If I was to zoom in, don't know how well you can see it, but it's not sharp at all, and that's because it's bled out. So it's expanded. So as the ink has gone inside, because it's water-based ink, it's spread out. So if you think of it like a tissue, if you was to drop a bit of ink in a tissue, the tissue absorbs and it expands out. So the tissue does what it's supposed to do. With the wood, we do not want it to do that. We want it to stay in the place where it's printed. We do not want the ink to migrate. So that PVA glue mixed with a little bit of water stops the glue. The glue stops the ink from migrating out. So we don't want to make it waterproof. So we want to pre-treat it, use a pre-fixative and not a post-fixative. So a post-fixative will generally seal it. So we've used our own PVA glue to make a pre-fixative that just slows down the absorption and reduces ink migration. So you can see they're absolutely perfect. So that is something that I thought I'd mention. And again, you can see just how amazing it is. And if I was to show you without it, so that, believe it or not, was a picture of my dog. So that was untreated, treated, and it's just absorbed in. And it just kind of looks like a blur. So that is that machine. Now if we jump over to the F2. So this is the F2 with the Air Purifier Go. Now on the side here, you have a dial, as you can see. And this dial will raise or lower the laser. If I lift that up, I don't know how well you can see it. But if I was to there, you should see 2 very distinct lasers. Now that just moves the dial up and down. there's a frame button here. So this will frame the last job. As you can see, a heart right there. This frames the last job. This dial is also a button. So when I send a job to this machine, in order to start the laser engraver, I simply press that dial in. Now I'll put this back in place here just to show you something a little later. I'll close this. Now, if I was to just turn this to the side just briefly, you can see the emergency stop here. So this isn't an off button. This is literally if there's an emergency, you hit this button to stop it. So if I just move that back there, and obviously I have this air purifier now physically attached. It's one single cable. So there's a little splitter that comes with this air purifier, and you plug it into the back power there. This then plugs into the splitter, and finally the power then plugs into the other end. So it is able to power using the power source of the F2. It's able to power both this and this. And there's a simple USB cable that you connect to the back, USB-C, and it's all connected. And I'll show you how that works in practice when I go about doing it. Now if I jump on over. Hi there, Dale. Yes, so the software, so what I'll do is I will drop a link right now into the comments for the software. You can download this software absolutely free today and give it a try. I'll show you the software right after I've demonstrated the F2 Ultra UV. So if I switch over to the F2 Ultra UV, so you can see the big machine here. If I was to move over, I'm going to try and avoid being in the camera too much, but this is a much larger machine. So if I actually turn these machines on, so this machine has a few buttons. So when you turn it on, if I was to just press the reset button, there we go. So now this is powering up. So this comes with a touchpad. This touchpad is compatible with the F2. It doesn't come with it. You can buy it separately, I'm told. If you're looking for a touchpad for your F2, please do reach out and I'll point you in the right direction. And again, it's a very similar process. This has two red dots. And what you want to do, similar to that, is you want to adjust those red and blue dots so they intersect. Once those two dots become one, your laser is the ideal distance from the material to engrave. So it's a simple case of pressing the up and down buttons, and this will raise or lower the laser. You have a frame button here, and again, this is the start button. In terms of buttons on the side, this does have an emergency stop. And again, it's located on this side, you can't see it. And again, it's not an off button, it's for emergency use only. So that's the F2 Ultra UV. You might see here, I have this venting outside. I have this one here venting to the air purifier, which I'll show you how that's attached. If I just move that over, you can see just there, the F2, this is capable of connecting to the F2. I now have this connected to the M2. So if you have already bought this and you buy this separately, you'll need an adapter to make this work. So that's the adapter that I showed you in the video. So I have that adapter plugged into the back here, so I can use that smaller hose pipe. The hose pipe that comes with the M2 is an inch larger. So you will need that adapter. And again, if you brought them separately, so if you brought this first and then go on to buy this, if you reach out to xTool, they will send you the adapter for free. If you are buying this with this, there's a specific version that says for M2 and it comes with that adapter. So if in doubt, get the one with the adapter because you can always take off the adapter. Now, if we switch over to the software, so what I'll do is I'll just show you some of how the interface looks. So if I just share the screen only. So this dial here is the software. And you do have a few different options. So the first thing I want to say, if you're new to laser engraving, please check out the xTool Academy. So the xTool Academy has all of the machines that xTool offer on there. So if I hit view all, you can see they're all on there. Now, if I go over to the F2, for example, I'm greeted with specific courses just for the F2. So this is an official resource from xTool, and it's very, very handy, especially if it's your first laser, or maybe it's the first time you're doing routine care and maintenance, and you're not sure if that is something you should be undoing, if that's something you should be cleaning. Some people are more visual learners. This is a great, great tool. One of the first things I always tell people to do is you go over to general, you got this laser safety training. I highly recommend this. This comes in handy if you're doing craft fairs, if you're going to exhibitions. It can form a part of your risk management. So I've actually used this certificate as part of my risk management because I'm a laser safety officer. So I'm in charge of making sure my laser is safe at all times. And this is what you need to know. So it's very straightforward stuff, and it's very good information to know. It's always good to know this stuff. There is also other courses that you can go and do. So for example, if I was to go down to untick that and just click on Business Hub and maybe make a workshop. Paul, for example, very nice guy. Highly recommend you follow him and reach out to him. He's also a demo host. So if you're looking for a host to do a demo with, again, please reach out to him. He's more than happy to help. He has created in collaboration with xTool a small course, and it's very good information to have. So if you're looking to start and scale your business, check out this resource and how Paul has used lasers for his business to scale it. So again, if you're looking to buy a laser, you can download this software free today. You can go through all this information before you've purchased the laser. Maybe you've got a laser on the way. Why not download this software and get started before it comes? If you don't have the laser, you can still test out things. So for example, if I click on this new project, and if I share my screen, and what I'll do is I will pan tilt zoom over to the F2 base. So we got that. So we're going to work on this machine. And what I'll do is I will actually do this. So I have it connected to the last laser I was using, which is the F2 Ultra UV. I will now connect this to the generic F2. Now, you might be saying, I can download, you told me you can download this software and you can test it out, but I don't have a laser. That's true. If I hit a new tab, so for you, if you don't have a laser at the moment, what you will see is something like this device library. So I don't have the O1. I've ordered the xTool O1 UV printer, but guess what? I've been doing a lot of practicing. I've been doing cost analysis and all sorts with the O1 to figure out pricing for items that I'm going to sell when it arrives. So how do I do that? I've just selected the O1. I don't have it, but guess what? I can drag and drop things on there. So if I was to find an asset and say, do you know what? I want to drag and drop a picture of my dog, say. I want to print out a picture of my dog. So I've just dragged my dog onto the screen. And I'm going to print white and color. So again, I can test out all this. I don't have the O1. I'm waiting just like everyone else. I'm nobody special. I ordered from day one, but I am getting my practice in. So if I was to do a print that is 120 wide, so 12 centimeters wide by 15 centimeters high, how much would it cost me in ink? So if I hit process, just for a white and then a color, and you can see here it's processing. So it's going to take 12 minutes. So I have have the time it's going to take off the bat. So I know how to cost my time accordingly, or my employees' time. And if I hit calculate, how much is it going to cost in terms of ink? And I've increased the price of ink slightly to make a slight markup, because you will get waste here and there. So I don't want to put the actual cost in there, but it's going to cost about 21p print 12 by 15 centimeter photo. And obviously that is just with the bog basic flat, so white and color. So you can test out things on the laser and see, how long is this going to take? What does this look like? Yes, you won't be able to physically do anything, but half of the training and learning is knowing what tools do what. And this is where xTool blow the competition out of the water. You might say, I can get a cheap laser from AliExpress or Alibaba or eBay or wherever. I might get a third-party laser that is just as good and it's a fraction of the price. And that might be the case, but guess what? How easy is it to use? Go download Lightburn. You get a 30-day free trial, and then you tell me how easy Lightburn is to use compared to xTool. So xTool have a complete ecosystem, and by that I mean it doesn't just run your laser. Now they've incorporated printing into it. They've incorporated different aspects of AI aspects, so create with AI. So I don't have to go to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever program you use and generate an image to use. I can do it all within a single pane of glass. If I go to the home screen, you've got this Atom project. So Atom is xTool's design and collaboration software or system. It is a website, atom.com, and it allows you to share and download projects. So if you create a project and share it, there are benefits to doing that. You'll get points that you can use for AI generation. But if you're new to laser engraving, you can quickly and easily find something that is ready to use. So I might go, that is a cute panda. Do you know what? I'll click on that. When you click on it, it tells you about it. This was used machine module. So this was M1. I can do it on these different machines. So you can see what machines you're capable of using it on. And I can go open. And now, as you can see up here, it's opened it. So this was designed on the M1 Ultra, but I can simply switch this and go, do you know what? I want to go to the M2. It's got the settings that was used, the bass plywood, so it'll automatically have the correct settings. And when I say that, if I click on it, you can see 100 power for speed. So it has all these different things. It literally takes the guesswork out of it. And xTool have gone above and beyond in terms of testing material. They've also now started to reach out to the community, testing third-party material. So for example, I have cardstock that I buy from my local hobby craft store. And if you use it, if I do a material test on my machine and share it, you now have those settings for that same material. So xTool have made it a joy and a pleasure and the ease of use to be able to share my settings with other users, or equally my ability to be able to download other users' material settings for use for me. So it saves me the work of having to work out what the best speed and things like that are. So if I close out of that and I close out of this, so that was the 01. And again, download this software now, give it a try. If you get stuck, please do reach out. So we'll start with the F2 today. And as you can see up here, the xTool F2 Air Purifier Go, and it's connected. So it comes up. And honestly, you can see here, filter 0 hours, filter lifetime reminder. I've got that enabled. Fan speed up. Honestly, I cannot smell thing when I use this. So one of the first things I want to show you in terms of the updates that xTool's done is they've made it now, they've given it an auto mode. So if you've seen the M2 with the auto mode, so if I was to show you the M2 and its auto mode, I talk about it a lot because it's fantastic. I mentioned it in the video where I lift it up and close the lid down, it takes a picture. So if I was to go over now to my machine. So if I switch this to the M2 and the air purifier, if I was to just lift this up, so if I get out the way of the camera, that would help. And I'm just going to switch it over. And you can see on the screen that it's updated. Now, the auto mode has automatically identified it and selected the appropriate settings in terms of the thickness of the material. Now, if I was to, got it over here, if I was to just grab this, so this is a QR code, and just do the same thing again. So it's identified the material, it's measured it, and now it's identified that QR code and said, this is the varnish beechwood. You know, I hit apply, and now I've got the settings for it, as you can see here. So it's absolutely fantastic, this auto mode. So now if we pivot over to this, and if I switch back to there, and what I'll do is I will take out that QR code. So when you order xTool Select Material, you will get QR codes with it. And you can select the material manually, or you can just drop it in the machine. So right now, it's automatically focusing the material. So you do have to put this under that light. So unlike the M2, where it will identify and it can move around and touch it, with the Galvo lasers, you have to put it directly underneath the light to autofocus. So you can see here that it's automatically focused, and it's told me done. So this has been rolled out to the F2 Ultras, or the Ultras, the F series. So it's fantastic. It comes in handy. For me, if I was to go to one of my biggest issues with the camera is when I move something and flip it over, it doesn't take an update. It doesn't take that updated picture. I have to manually click it. Now I don't have to worry about that. So if I go to the F2 Ultra, for example, and if I was to just zoom over and get super close to the F2 Ultra, I might see if I can zoom in a bit further. But if we was to switch over to the Ultra, and again, I'm just clicking up here, and you can operate multiple lasers in one go. This is the benefit of xTool software, is it literally is tuned to your workflow. I get maximum efficiency with my lasers thanks to the software. So right now, this is the laser bed. As you can see, I've engraved the laser bed. Great. What I'll do is I will put the same keychain into the laser. And as you can see, it's out of focus. So I won't use auto mode here, but I will move the laser up and down. So as I move the laser, as you can see, the laser light will go off momentarily. I thought that my laser was going bad, but it wasn't. It's an update. So what happens is it takes a photo. Every time I make an adjustment, it takes a photo. And by that I mean, if I was to move it like that, it won't take an update. But if I was to move it here, and you can see it moved. So every time you make an adjustment in terms of the focus on the F2 Ultra UV, it takes a new picture. And you can manually take a picture by clicking this button here, refresh background. But it's fantastic. If you're looking for auto mode and you've downloaded the latest software, if you go to the settings, so the settings can be found, you've got switch device. To the right of that, you've got device settings, not to be confused up here with xTool Studio settings. So we're looking for device settings. And then if we scroll down, you'll find different settings. So the first thing I want to point out, that's great to know, you can link the warranty of your machine with your account now. So if you've ordered from a specific account and you're logged into xTool, you can link it so you know exactly how long's left on your warranty. That's very nice to have, and that's peace of mind for me. So in terms of information. You've got very basic information here. You check for updates in terms of the firmware. I'm on the latest firmware. If I go to device settings, you've got this auto mode, fire alarm. So fire alarm can be turned on or off. So typically speaking, I have this off because some of the things I do are very reflective and you get false positives. I highly recommend you have the fire alarm on. I operate this with the guard open a lot of times, in which case I have glasses. So I have xTool's official glasses in here and I put them on. I didn't cover any laser safety. So if I just briefly mention the safety side of things, I guess, if you operate it with the laser open, so you should never leave the laser unattended. You want it on a flat, stable surface. Don't modify the machine. And in terms of ventilation, I have mine either venting outside or to the appropriate air purifiers. And you do have a varying range of options in terms of air purifiers. And then some materials should never engrave PVC. So a lot of vinyl is PVC based. PVC is very dangerous to engrave or cut. When it turns into a gas, it will damage your lungs, it will corrode your machine. Just don't do it. So there's certain tools that are the right tools for the job. In terms of vinyl, you want a vinyl cutter. So I had a customer that was looking to cut PVC based vinyl and they wanted a laser. And they opted for the M1 Ultra because it has that fine point blade. So they're not allowed or should not use a laser. And I explained that to them. And because of that, they got their M1 Ultra, which has that fine point blade and it's able to cut physically with a knife, with a blade, the vinyl, so it doesn't create that bad gas. And then they're able to then engrave using the laser other things that they wanted to engrave. So they was able to continue working. So there are workarounds in that sense. You can get laser safe vinyl. I don't specifically mention it because I don't personally use it. I always use a vinyl cutter if I'm cutting vinyl. And that's it. And then in terms of safety glasses, the M2 is fully enclosed. You don't have to worry about it. But my other lasers here in the office, I can operate with the guard open, in which case you have to be mindful of your eyes. Yes, I can engrave some. I can engrave some metal, stainless steel on the F2. I mean, that would be a good demo. So if I switch over now to if I switch over to this, so if you want to enable auto mode, that's how you go about adding it. So device settings. So if I switch back over to my F2, what I'll do is I will dig out some metal. So what I can do is just show you how easy it is to engrave on metal. So what I'll do is just see what I've got here in the office. Do have some dog tags. What we'll do is we'll go with some xTool material. So I've got this xTool Select. So these are stainless steel, varying colors of stainless steel. So these come with a lock and a key. And what I'll do is they come very well packaged as well. I noticed this. So these are sealed with a plasticky wrap. There we go. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll just place this in the bed. So one of the first things I like to do is prop it up. So the first thing I'm going to do is get it in focus. So that's in focus. And what I'll do is, if you're wondering why I've propped this up on here, so if I was to zoom over to the F2 base, so I've propped up a part So I've focused it and I've propped it up on here. And the reason for that is when this sits on the bed, I don't know how well you can see it, but it doesn't sit level because of the keychain. So I've raised this up, I've focused it correctly, and I've moved it out the center of the work area just so the laser doesn't bounce back into itself. So close that, and what I'll do, I've got auto mode on, so I need to turn auto mode off. So if I do that again, the auto mode, there are use cases for turning auto mode off. And that is when you're doing shiny material. So I am having that out of the way, and I do need to turn this off. So if I turn this off, auto mode, there we go. And you can do manual trigger. So again, there we go. There are use cases for turning auto mode off. There we go. So that is a little bit too out the way. There we go. If I move it just there. And again, I want to operate this with the lid fully down. So now I want to select the correct material for this. So I'd like to say, if I go to metal and I type in heart, it's this set here. I click apply, and this has told me not to place it in the center. So that's why I moved it to the top corner. So I focused it and I turned off the auto mode because again, it's automatically measuring directly underneath the laser. And obviously we don't want that. We've already measured it and we want to move it. So I hit OK. And again, take that updated picture. So we've moved it. And now I can say, do you know what? We'll do something very, very simple. We'll put in maybe a name. So if we enter in magic for meow, if I hit engrave, what I'll do is I'll change this to black. And this is not me changing the color in the sense of how it will engrave. This is just for visibility. So I can go, do you know what? If I zoom in up here, magical. If I duplicate that, and I move that here, and I can go, do you know what? I'll go fit there. Okay, how does that look? Right now, I want the darkest setting, so I'll go with that one. And if I hit framing and open this up and just show you the different framing options. So if I was to zoom in, that's the one framing option. So that is set to outline. Rectangle will just create a square. So that really doesn't kind of help as such. And then the polygon. So in this case, I would do an outline. And what I'll do is rather than have it set to all of them, if I just click on one, it will only show me the one. So if I have a look at that, that is engraving in the right place. And if I click on the next one, that is engraving in the right place. And what I'll do is I'll close the lid. And I'm just going to, if I hide my face, or if I just show you the screen only, so if I hit process, this is going to take 37 seconds. If I hit start, and again, if I was to, so it's cranked up. I don't know how well you can hear that, but the fan is cranked up. And now if I press the button on the side, it is engraving. Unfortunately, the laser is, there we go, having a hard time focusing with the lights. But that is now done. If we zoom in, what do we have? Magical meow. So if I show you this underneath, there we go. And that's stainless steel. So this is rose gold stainless steel, and this is part of xTool's xTool select material, and I just used their default settings in that terms, and I went for the darker engrave. As you can see, that is how it looks, and that is for you, Magical Meow. So if you're looking for settings, I highly recommend you check out the material library up here. And again, when I clicked on that, I was able to see. I went for the darkest one, which is there. It automatically selected the infrared, which is what you want when you're marking metal. And it's that simple. And I could go on with how xTool have changed up the preview as well. So as you can see there, that's just a look of what it will look like, a preview. But if I was to click on that and go, do you know what, I want that settings different, I'll have that set to that. If I hit preview, it should show you in the preview. So now xTool have kind of taken the material tests and made it so you can see differences there. So I hope that was of benefit to you. Yes, you're more than welcome. If you have any questions, my contact information is in the comments. Please reach out. I'm happy to help you. Honestly, the F2 is a fantastic laser for the price point. If you're looking for a galvo laser to do objects rapidly, it's a fantastic piece of kit, especially if you're going to take it out and about. If you're looking to do craft fairs, xTool have teamed up with DJI in terms of the power, and they recommend a certain portable power battery for this machine, which I will be purchasing probably later this year. So I do have a portable battery that I use with mine, but I'm on the lookout for a better one. And especially now that I have the F2 Go air purifier attached to it, it's a fantastic piece of kit for doing work out and about. And as you can see, the settings wise, if you buy xTool Select material, you don't have to guess with the settings. You have a choice, and more often than not, you get the result that you want. So it's that simple. So you could see how I framed it in real time using the Galvo's Lasers framing button, which is just here, and you have the variety of options. So framing outline is very good if you're doing text. Typically speaking, more often than not, I use the rectangle, but outline comes in very handy when you're doing just text. Polygon has its uses, so I use that when I'm engraving on the underside of slate and you have the rubber feet that I don't want to engrave and I want to avoid. So I want to see the different areas, and it comes in very handy. You can adjust the light of the how dark the outline of the framing looks. So I have mine set to 9 because I have a lot of offices and natural light come in. Even with the blinds down, because of the amount of lights I have here in the office, I need that additional increase. So if your framing looks very light in color, just increase this. And again, if you have any questions, if anyone has any questions, I'm online again tomorrow at the same time at 12 noon. I'll be going over very similar things. If there's specific pieces of material you want me to look at, if I have it here in the office, I'm more than happy to demonstrate it. If there's a specific use case and I'm able to show you live, I'm absolutely for it. That's great. And if you're looking for a discount, please do reach out. I can offer you a discount if you're looking to purchase a machine. So please do reach out to me, Magical Meow. I'll be happy to get you the best price possible from xTool. Thank you for your time, everyone. I'll also drop my contact information again in the chat, just so you have it. Please do reach out and I'll be happy to assist anyone that needs the help. Thank you again, and I will see you the same time tomorrow. And again, we'll cover very much the same things, and we'll do any demos anyone's looking for if I have the material. Thank you again, and